Deep in the heart of Montana, nestled amongst the towering peaks and dense forests, lies a mystery that has baffled geologists, archaeologists, and history buffs alike. It's a structure so immense, so precisely constructed, that it seems to defy explanation. A megalithic wall, hidden for perhaps millennia, that challenges our understanding of North American history. The story begins not with a team of seasoned academics meticulously excavating a known historical site, but with two ordinary landowners, Christopher Borton and Linda Welsh. Imagine this. You own a sprawling piece of property in the remote reaches of Montana. For years, maybe even decades, it's remained largely untouched, a verdant expanse of trees and undergrowth. One day, you decide to clear a section of the forest. Perhaps you're envisioning a new cabin, a garden, or simply a better view. You expect to find roots, fallen logs, the usual debris of a long, untended wilderness. But what Christopher and Linda unearthed was anything but ordinary. Beneath the layers of soil, leaves, and decaying organic matter, an enormous wall began to emerge. Not a natural rock formation, not a haphazard jumble of boulders, but a seemingly engineered structure composed of massive stone blocks. The blocks were angular, sharply defined, and fitted together with a degree of precision that seemed almost impossible. It was as if nature itself had decided to construct a fortress, but the uniformity and sheer scale pointed to something else entirely. This wasn't just a rock outcropping, it was a wall in Montana. The initial discovery was nothing short of astounding. The sheer size of the wall was immediately apparent. The visible portion stretched for approximately 275 feet, almost the length of a football field, snaking its way across the landscape. And it wasn't just long, it was tall. Rising up to 25 feet above the ground, it commanded attention, a silent sentinel standing guard over a forgotten past. But the real shock came with the realization that what was visible was only part of the story. Subsequent investigations suggested that another 15 feet of the wall lay buried beneath the surface, hidden from view beneath the accumulated soil. If fully excavated, the structure could reach a staggering 40 feet in height. To put that in perspective, that's the height of a 4-story building. Imagine stumbling upon that in the middle of nowhere, and then there are the blocks themselves. These aren't pebbles or even modest-sized rocks. They are gargantuan slabs of granite, some estimated to weigh as much as 91 tons. That's equivalent to 60 average-sized cars. To even conceptualize moving a stone of that size with modern machinery is a challenge. How could anyone, or anything, have possibly maneuvered these blocks into place, let alone with the precision that's evident in the wall's construction? The blocks are tightly fitted, pressed snugly against each other with minimal gaps. It's as if the builders, whoever they were, aimed to create a seamless barrier, an unbroken defense against something lost to time. The precision is baffling. Granite, by its very nature, doesn't easily lend itself to such clean lines and perfect angles. It's an igneous rock, formed deep underground. When it cracks and weathers, it tends to break into irregular, jagged shapes. So how did these stones end up so uniform, so perfectly shaped? What makes the wall even more perplexing is the presence of strange protrusions on the surfaces of the stones, often referred to as knobs. These rounded bulges jut out from the otherwise flat faces, and their purpose remains a mystery. Were they handles used to move the blocks? Were they decorative elements? Or did they serve a more functional purpose, perhaps related to the structure's integrity or some unknown energetic property? The truth is, no one knows for sure. But what's truly unsettling is that these knobs aren't unique to the Montana wall. They appear on megalithic sites around the globe, from Sacsayhuaman in Peru to ancient structures in Egypt and even Asia. Their presence in such geographically diverse locations suggests a shared knowledge or building tradition, a common thread, connecting these disparate cultures across vast distances. How did this knowledge spread? Who were these builders? And what was their purpose? For Christopher and Linda, the discovery was a life-altering event. They went from ordinary landowners to stewards of an extraordinary mystery. The wall had been hidden for so long, camouflaged by the relentless march of time and nature. Only after clearing the land did its full scale reveal itself, a testament to its enduring presence. The initial reactions were mixed. Some dismissed it as a natural rock formation, a geological oddity with no real significance. But others recognized that something extraordinary had been unearthed, something that demanded further investigation. The precision, the alignment, the sheer size of the blocks. These were features that couldn't be easily explained away. The central questions began to emerge. Could this be the ruin of an ancient civilization, erased from the historical record? Could it be part of a larger, hidden complex, stretching beyond what we can currently see? Or is it possible that nature itself somehow produced one of the greatest architectural illusions on the continent? The Sage Wall of Montana, as it became known, had thrown down the gauntlet, challenging us to reevaluate our understanding of the past and consider the possibility that the history we know is only part of the story. The initial impressions were clear. Something monumental had been discovered. The hows and the whys, however, were about to become a whole lot more complicated. For all the shock and speculation surrounding the Montana megalith, not everyone is convinced it's evidence of a forgotten civilization. In fact, many geologists propose that the structure can be explained through natural processes. While the results are visually astonishing, they insist these processes are well understood. Montana is, after all, home to what geologists call the boulder batholith. Think of it as a massive underground granite formation that formed during the late Cretaceous period, millions of years ago, when molten rock slowly cooled far beneath the Earth's surface. Over eons, this vast expanse of granite has been subjected to immense forces, tectonic stress, uplift, and unrelenting erosion. These forces can produce blocky patterns that, at times, deceptively mimic deliberate construction. When you see giant, straight-sided cracks running across granite cliffs, remember, you're witnessing the slow, natural splitting of rock under unimaginable pressure, not necessarily the handiwork of ancient engineers. Skeptics emphasize that the Montana megalith perfectly fits this geological model. Granite batholiths often fracture in linear and polygonal patterns, naturally forming large blocks that appear meticulously stacked, even though they aren't. Fissures can extend from the base of a rock face all the way to its summit, creating the illusion of a carefully constructed wall. To illustrate this point, it's important to highlight how many of the cracks in the Montana megalith follow continuous paths from bottom to top. If the wall were actually constructed, the builders would have undoubtedly staggered and interlocked the blocks to ensure structural integrity. Instead, the alignment runs directly along one vertical seam. This continuous fracturing, geologists argue, is a geological fingerprint, concrete proof that nature, not humans, shaped the site. Now, let's address those intriguing knobs, those small protrusions that spark so much debate. Geologists contend that these too have a natural origin. They form when harder minerals within the granite resist erosion, while softer sections wear away more quickly. Over countless years, this differential weathering leaves behind those small bulges that appear intentional but are, in fact, the result of a natural geological process. While these knobs might superficially resemble those found at megalithic sites in Peru or Egypt, skeptics argue that the similarity is purely coincidental, a trick of the eye. After all, erosion is a universal process, and similar results can arise in completely separate parts of the world without any human involvement. Perhaps the most significant critique comes down to the stark absence of cultural artifacts. At virtually every other major megalithic site, you'll almost invariably find signs of human activity. Discarded tools, fragments of pottery, ancient carvings, or some indication of nearby settlement. So far, none of that has been discovered at the Montana megalith. For many archaeologists, this is a critical point. The absence of such artifacts weighs heavily against the theory of a man-made structure. After all, if people had actually quarried and moved stones weighing up to 90 tons, surely some trace of their arduous activity would remain in the surrounding soil. Without that supporting evidence, it becomes increasingly difficult to argue that the Montana megalith is anything more than a fascinating geological curiosity. And yet the debate rages on. Why? Because certain details just refuse to fit neatly into the geological explanation. Ground-penetrating radar studies, for instance, suggest that the wall doesn't simply end at ground level, but continues downwards, extending at least 15 feet below the surface. Even more intriguingly, below, the wall appears to be a flat platform or foundation, something incredibly unusual in natural rock formations. If these readings are accurate, then the Montana megalith isn't simply a cliff face eroded by time, but a much larger feature with dimensions far more consistent with intentional construction. Then there's the strange matter of magnetism. When scientists and explorers tested the granite blocks, they discovered that magnets would stick to the surface, as if the wall contained an unusually high concentration of magnetic minerals. While granite can certainly contain magnetite, this level of magnetism is exceptionally rare, and some researchers interpret it as a sign of deliberate modification, or, at the very least, as evidence of unknown geological processes at play. Whatever the ultimate explanation, it adds another layer of strangeness to the Montana megalith. Why would a supposedly natural cliff face generate a magnetic pull strong enough to hold magnets in place? Is it possible that we're dealing with a type of stone that was somehow altered or carefully selected for specific, unknown reasons? This is precisely where the debate becomes particularly heated. Skeptics emphasize the lack of artifacts and the geological context of the boulder batholith, while proponents of the man-made theory continually point to those anomalies that simply defy easy explanation. And the lack of peer-reviewed scientific studies only compounds the uncertainty. Right now, most of what we know comes from private investigations, YouTube documentaries, and independent researchers, not from established universities or officially sanctioned archaeological teams. Without rigorous scientific publications to rely upon, both sides can confidently claim that the available evidence strongly supports their position. Some argue that this lack of academic involvement is a clear sign that the site is geologically unremarkable. Others believe it's evidence that mainstream archaeology is actively avoiding anything that might seriously challenge the accepted narrative. So, what are we left with? Is the Montana megalith simply a product of tectonic stress and natural erosion? Or is it a piece of a larger, now vanished structure that was constructed before the end of the Ice Age? The truth is, no one can yet say with absolute certainty. The geological explanations are undeniably strong and firmly rooted in established science, but they don't completely account for every anomaly observed at the site. At the same time, the man-made theories, while captivating and exciting, lack the kind of irrefutable physical evidence, discarded tools, ancient carvings, or datable human remains that would transform them from speculation into solid, verifiable fact. It's precisely this unresolved tension that makes the Montana megalith so utterly fascinating. The discovery of this massive stone wall in Montana has sent ripples of curiosity and debate throughout archaeological circles and beyond. But to truly grasp the magnitude of this find, we need to step back and consider the broader context of similar structures around the globe. Is the Montana megalith an isolated anomaly, or does it represent a piece of a larger interconnected puzzle? Around the world, scattered across continents and cultures, lie enigmatic megalithic sites that continue to baffle researchers. Structures like Sacsayhuaman in Peru, the pyramids of Egypt, Göbekli Tepe in Turkey, and even lesser-known sites like the Kaimanawa Wall in New Zealand share striking similarities with the Montana megalith, prompting us to ask, are these similarities mere coincidences, or do they point to a shared history or a lost global civilization? Let's start with Sacsayhuaman, the imposing Inca fortress perched high above Cusco, Peru. Its walls are constructed from colossal, irregularly shaped stones, some weighing over 200 tons, fitted together with such precision that not even a razor blade can slip between them. But what's particularly intriguing is the presence of protrusions, or knobs, on many of these stones. These knobs, also found on the Montana megalith, have puzzled researchers for years. Were they used as leverage during construction, or do they serve a symbolic purpose? Whatever their function, the presence of these knobs on both the Montana structure and Sacsayhuaman suggests a possible connection, however tenuous. Moving across the Atlantic, we arrive in Egypt, home to some of the most iconic megalithic structures in the world. The pyramids of Giza, built thousands of years ago, demonstrate an unparalleled mastery of engineering and stonework. But beyond the pyramids, other ancient Egyptian sites, like Karnak, also feature massive stone blocks with similar knobs, grooves, and intricate carvings. While the scale and style differ from the Montana megalith, the underlying principles of moving and shaping massive stones are undeniably present. Did the builders of these disparate structures share some form of ancient knowledge, or were they independently discovering the same techniques? Now, let's journey to Turkey, to the site of Göbekli Tepe. This extraordinary archaeological find has revolutionized our understanding of early human civilization. Dating back over 11,000 years, Göbekli Tepe consists of massive T-shaped pillars adorned with intricate animal carvings. What's particularly significant is that Göbekli Tepe predates the advent of agriculture, challenging the conventional view that complex societies only emerged after humans settled down to farm. Could the Montana megalith, like Göbekli Tepe, be a product of a pre-agricultural society demonstrating a previously unknown level of sophistication and engineering prowess? These global comparisons raise profound questions about the nature of ancient civilizations and the spread of knowledge across continents. If the Montana megalith is indeed man-made, as some researchers suggest, then it challenges the established narrative of human history in North America. It implies that a sophisticated society, capable of constructing massive stone structures, existed in Montana thousands of years ago, long before the arrival of European settlers or even the well-known Native American cultures. But what happened to this civilization? Why is there so little evidence of its existence beyond this one remarkable structure? Did it succumb to natural disasters, warfare, or simply fade away over time? These are the enduring mysteries that continue to surround the Montana megalith, fueling speculation and debate. One possibility is that this ancient society was part of a larger global network of civilizations that shared knowledge and technologies across vast distances. Perhaps they were connected through trade routes, migrations, or even a shared spiritual or philosophical worldview. This idea, while controversial, could help explain the similarities between the Montana megalith and other megalithic sites around the world. Another possibility is that these similarities arose independently through a process known as convergent evolution. Perhaps different societies, facing similar challenges and working with similar materials, independently developed similar techniques for shaping and moving massive stones. This explanation, while more conservative, cannot be entirely dismissed. Regardless of the explanation, the Montana megalith presents us with a profound challenge: to reconsider our understanding of the past and to be open to the possibility that our current historical narratives are incomplete or even incorrect. If it turns out that the Montana megalith is indeed man-made, then it would force us to rewrite the history of civilization, adding a new and unexpected chapter to the story of humanity. But even if the Montana megalith is ultimately proven to be a natural formation, it will still serve as a reminder of the power and beauty of the natural world and of the enduring mysteries that continue to surround us. Whether it was built by human hands or shaped by the forces of nature, the Montana megalith will continue to fascinate and inspire us for generations to come. It's a reminder that even in the age of science and technology, there are still places in the world that hold secrets, that defy easy explanation, and that challenge us to think beyond the boundaries of our current understanding. The Montana megalith, whatever its origins, will forever be a symbol of the enduring mystery of the past and the boundless possibilities of the future. The questions remain and the investigation continues.